At least 11 Republicans have declared they are running for president in 2024 in an increasingly crowded field of contenders vying for the party's nomination for the White House. So who is a serious candidate and who's just dreaming? Joining me now live is former White House Chief of Staff and consultant at Bondi Partners, Mick Mulvaney. Mick, good to see you. So at least 11 candidates, that seems like a lot of people. Is it a good thing that the pool is so big?
Danica, I think so. There's probably only 4 or 5 that have a real chance. Of course, Donald Trump is still the prohibitive favorite. And there's a lot of people running that most people have never heard of. I actually think it's a good thing. This happens in our country where you get people you've never heard of running for president. They might run as a joke. They might run as a PR campaign. But some of them are very serious people who might end up, for example, in a cabinet. Right now, the Secretary of Transportation under the Democrat, the Biden administration is Pete Buttigieg, who no one had ever heard of before. He was the mayor of a small town, only got 10,000 votes in his previous election, but he did very well in Iowa when he ran for president and ended up moving into the president's cabinet now. So this is part of the process here in America. Again, there's going to be more people who enter the race who have no chance, but maybe it's a way to sort of showcase talents that might otherwise not be seen at the national level.
So we're just showing on our screen now pictures of the Republican presidential candidates. Who should we be looking out for the most?
Well, certainly Donald Trump, and then the 3 next after that would be Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and Tim Scott. I think those are the 3 primary challenges at this point. Mike Pence has some difficulties that I'm not sure he can overcome. But really probably the most interesting person to watch will be Chris Christie. I don't think Chris Christie has a chance to win. He's the former governor of New Jersey, for example. I don't think he expects to win. I don't think he really wants to win. He's trying to make sure that Donald Trump is not the president, and that is the pure purpose of his entering into the race.
What about those that don't stand a chance in your view? And there's also a lot of lesser-known people in the candidates that we just put up on our screen. So who's perhaps dreaming in this sense?
Well, Vivek Ramaswamy is a name I haven't heard of before. Will Hurd not announced today. Look, I could give you a dozen names that you've never heard of, but you shouldn't feel bad about that because most Americans have never heard of them either. There are a few running as publicity stunts. Larry Elder, for example, is a radio personality here in the country. He would love to sort of get on stage to hawk his books or increase his radio listenership. But there's probably 6 or 8 serious people in the race, of whom those 4, Donald Trump, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis, probably have the only legitimate chances to win.
All right, what about on the other side of politics? There's a number of possible Democrat challenges already to Joe Biden, but do you think there could be some more to come?
Yeah, Danica, this is really quite interesting. There's only one real announced opponent right now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of the former senator and the nephew of the former president. But he's polling someplace in the mid to upper 20% against Joe Biden. And just today, for example, there was a very broadly circulated story written by some centrist journalists asking whether or not Joe Biden had the mental capability to do the job, to be president again. This is not some right-wing fringe organization asking that question. These legitimate journalists. So Biden's had a very, very bad couple of weeks. He ended a speech here a couple of weeks back by saying, "God save the Queen," as he walked off the stage. He's had some bizarre sort of incidents. And what you're starting to hear about, Danica, is some very high-profile, prominent Democrats sort of privately asking people if they think they should run against Joe Biden. There's nobody announced yet, but my guess is over the summer, if Biden doesn't turn things around, you may see some big names starting to sort of announce they're interested in challenging the sitting president.
Has there been any concern within the Democratic Party about his cognitive ability? I noticed earlier that there was a poll saying that a number of voters are very worried about Biden's age, and he's made a number of slip-ups lately, as you mentioned. Are they worried internally about his cognitive state?
They are. Anybody who's got any experience with dementia, I have it in my own family, knows that older folks are going to make gaffes from time to time. For example, he said Russia was at war with Iraq. He's made that mistake a couple of times. That could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. But the most serious incident was several weeks back, actually several months back now, when he actually was looking around the room asking for a member of Congress who had died. And he had actually given a speech about her passing before that event. So he knew she was dead, but he was looking for her in that particular room. That's when a lot of sort of red alarm, flashing alarms started going off in the Democrat Party. They haven't done anything publicly on it yet, but you do hear Democrats talking more and more privately behind the scenes about what to do if Biden can't sort of turn things around.
All right, well, watch this space then. Mick Mulvaney, good to speak with you as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Danica.